So, we have Mr. Hardy.
Yeah, y'all can hear me?
Right, so this is going to be case number 24S19158, FH People v. Hardy. Mr. Hardy is present via Zoom. This is date time for status conference. The offer is what it has been. The offer to the plea guilty is charged with dismissed individual second, will show the cap in the middle of the guidelines. PSI, fines, cost restitution, and any time would be consecutive to the time is currently served.
All right, Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Hardy, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. The offer was the middle of the guidelines, and I have your guidelines tentatively pegged at about 10 to 23. I think the middle, of course, my math is correct, about 17 months. You asked me for a Cobb's. I approached the bench. I talked to the judge, and the judge indicated that he would do a Cobb's on the kilogram ring, which means he would cap at the middle of the guidelines. Would that be correct, Your Honor?
Correct.
So basically, you couldn't get more than 17 months. Obviously, at the end of the day, when I'm advocating for you, I'm going to be looking to the bottom end at least. All right? So you asked me for a Cobb's, and you've got the Cobb's. The judge indicates he was going to not exceed the middle of the guidelines, which I tentatively are pegging him at 17 months. So you want to think about that and come back in a couple weeks?
Man, it ain't no, y'all can't go no lower, like 12 months, 15 months. It ain't no lower. Bro, this case ain't that serious, bro. This case not that serious.
What do you want to do, Mr. Hardy? Do you want to enter a plea, or do you want to adjourn this and think about this for 2 weeks?
Man, yeah, I'm gonna take the 17 months. That's the lowest y'all can do. I'll take the 17 months.
So you want to take the offer?
Man, yeah, bro, yeah.
All right, so Mr. Hardy, do you want
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
to do that? I need you to raise your right hand so I can have you sworn. You raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Hold on, you said what?
You solemnly swear to tell the truth.
Yeah,
All right, you can put your hand down. So, Mr. Hardy, the charge, as Mr. Lewis just said, is assault of a prison employee. It's a 5-year felony and/or a $2,500 fine. Do you understand the nature of that charge and the maximum penalty?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, do you understand if you go forward with this agreement that has been worked out on your behalf, you won't have a trial of any kind? So do you want to waive your right to have a trial in order to take advantage of what was just placed right on the record here?
I'm saying, Judge, you can't come down no lower. Like, you really feel as if 17 months was really the lowest you could do, bro.
Yeah. So, Mr. Hardy, I already talked to your attorney. I'm comfortable with the idea of middle of the guidelines. I know nothing about this case, sir. I know nothing. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that it could be less. Mr. Lewis just told you he can argue for less, and once the court knows all the facts of it, maybe that makes sense. But until I know what occurred, I'm not going to agree to anything like that. So worst case, it's middle. Mr. Lewis, you can argue the same thing for less, and then we'll see what happens.
17 months. I know. All right. I understand clearly, right? Okay. No, I don't. No, I'm gonna let you do your investigation and something like that. I'm gonna wait to see if you. I don't want to take that 17 months.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to enter a plea, but that's not how it works. The court doesn't get the report, and then you get to decide what the offer will be. You either have to accept the offer today, plea is charged without the habitual, with the idea the court will give you the Cobb's of 17 months. If you don't want to do this, then you'll come back at a later date and time, and you can take the next step in the case, but that doesn't mean the offer would still be open. You might have to plead to a habitual offender then, and then the guidelines are going to be much higher.
All right, come on, man. Y'all pissed. All right, come on, man. Come on. I'll take the 17 months, bro. Y'all making this shit more complicated than what it got to be, bro. Come on.
All right.
I'm gonna take 17 months.
Back to the plea taking process then. So are you waiving your right to have
He's making it exactly as complicated as it needs to be. He's got certain things he needs to do as the judge.
a trial in order to take advantage of this offer that's been made this morning?
Man, yeah, bro.
All right. Now, Mr. Hardy, if you were going to have a trial, you have all of these rights that I have to describe to you, so just bear with me, okay? At trial, you'd have the right to be presumed innocent. At trial, you could confront any witnesses called against you. At trial, you could call your own witnesses. At trial, you could testify, or you didn't have to testify. You don't have to testify, and that can't be used against you. At trial, you'd have Mr. Lewis if you wanted to have a trial, so you'd have the right to have an attorney at a trial. Are you waiving all those rights you'd have at trial, again, to take advantage of the offer that was placed on the record this morning?
Man, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Hardy, two more things that we got to talk about. This one is, if you enter this plea, you will waive the right to come back at a later date and time and say it wasn't your choice to enter a plea. So in other words, you can't come back 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now and say, you know what, it wasn't my choice to enter a plea here this morning on October 29th. It was Mr. Lewis's choice, or it was that officer I was talking to off camera, all right? Do you understand that if you go forward, you can't come back later and say it wasn't my choice? You understand that?
Bro, yeah, I know all of this.
All right, well, I still got to say it. I still got to go through this so we can take this plea. So the next thing is, do you understand that if you go forward with your plea, you can't come back at a later date and time and say there were other promises or other threats or other inducements to you. For in other words, you can't come back in 6 weeks or 6 months and say, hey, wait a minute, they promised me steak dinners every Friday if I entered this plea. Something like that. You understand that?
Yeah, man, yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Hardy, even with your plea, you'll still have a form of appellate review available to you. That's called leave to appeal. And with that, you could hire an attorney. If you couldn't afford one, you could request one from the courts. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the charge of assault of a prison employee. How do you plead?
I plead guilty.
All right. The information says this occurred on or about May 21st of this year in the township of Easton, county of Ionia. Is that the correct date and location?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. And on that date and location, can you tell me what you did to assault Officer Volk? My understanding, you threw some kind of liquid on him. Maybe?
I did
All right.
assault Officer Volk.
I mean, we all just knew it was going here, didn't we?
And
What
how
are
did you do that?
about? I didn't assault Officer Volk. What are you talking about? Hey, what are you talking about?
Well, if you didn't assault anybody, then we don't have a plea.
Mr. Hardy, did you in fact throw some liquid on the officer?
No, I didn't. Man, yeah, bro. Y'all.
I guess, did you or did you not throw some liquid on the officer?
Man, y'all.
So is that a yes or a no? If it's no, that's fine. We'll come and we'll have a trial if you want to do that. If it's yes, then we
Bro,
can
I
probably
just
make a
said
plea.
yeah, nigga. I just said yeah, man. Move it on. I just said
So-
yeah.
So making obvious, somewhat incomprehensible, I guess is the word I'm searching for, noises doesn't mean it's yes. So you did assault him, you did throw some liquid on the officer, is that correct?
Man, yes.
All right.
Yes. Move on.
Judge, it was clear as this.
Okay, I'm assuming that's a yes. Okay.
Well, we got to have a definitive answer, Mr. Hardy. So, Mr. Hardy, well, let me ask this. Anybody want anything else on the facts, Mr. Butler or Mr. Lewis?
No.
All right. Mr. Hardy, back to you. Other than what we have spoke about this morning, has anyone else promised you threatened you, or done anything to you to get you to enter this plea this morning?
No.
All right, and then other than what we have talked about this morning, has anyone besides Mr. Lewis, because he's your attorney, but has anyone else said anything about what your sentence will be as a result of entering this plea?
No.
All right, Mr. Butler, you aware of any other promises, threats, or inducements? Mr. Lewis, how about you?
None.
And Mr. Butler's the court complied with the court rule for taking the plea.
Yes.
And Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy, I have one last question. Do you want the court to accept your plea to assault of a prison employee? I'm sorry, sir. I didn't catch that. Was that a yes?
I said yeah.
All right. I will accept your plea. You did offer your plea freely, accurately, and voluntarily. So, Mr. Hardy, here's what's going to happen next. Somebody from probation will contact you to begin the process of completing a pre-sentence report. Mr. Lewis will have the ability to participate in that with you if you want him to. If you don't want him to, he doesn't have to. All right, that's up to you. Once that's done, we'll get you back for circuit court sentencing. That'll be about 4 weeks from now. All right? Mr. Hardy, you are all set today. You got an officer there with you. You are free to sign off on your end, okay?
All right, man.
What else do we have?
Yes, can we call the case of People v. Michael Kiss? I believe he's also present via Zoom from MDOC.
Boy, I'm just getting railroaded here.
We're going to give you a copy of that. So Mr. and Ms. Bowen can come on the Zoom call.
This is all.
And Mr. Holscher. Thanks. So Ms. Bowen, and then there was another, well, the iPad disappeared. Was that you?
Yes, I'm on here, sir.
Okay, which one are you? So you're Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
Okay, maybe you can hold that up a little bit. I mean, it's kind of an odd angle there. Much better. Mr. Holscher, could you come on the Zoom call, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Could you activate your camera, please? Okay, so Ms. Bowen, this is your petition, although I may hear from, it doesn't look like you're Mr. Bowen is listed as a petitioner. So I'm going to swear you in. I'll hear from you. And then if you wish me to have me hear from Mr. Bowen, I will do that. And then I'll hear from Mr. Holscher. And then following that, I'll make a decision as to whether or not an order should be entered. So could you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
You can put your hand down. And how is it you need an order against Mr. Holscher?
Well, sir, he's been harassing me for several years. It all started when we both worked for the Attorney General's office years ago. And he started putting complaints into me with
really
my management. And anyway, since then, he was let go from the Attorney General's office back in, I believe it was 2013, and I have not seen
I know, and I read his response. He said he retired, but
why.
I'll give him a chance to respond. And I'm just letting you know, Mr. Holscher, I did read that. Go ahead, Ms. Bowen, continue on.
So anyways, I have not seen him or spoken to him since then. Up until last Thanksgiving, got a phone call, and he called twice that day, which I proceeded to block him. And then he somehow got my husband's phone number as well and started calling him. And he also blocked his cell number, but it still shows up as unknown caller. So we have both switched it over to silence unknown calls. but he is still able to leave voicemail messages. So since last Thanksgiving, it has gotten worse and worse and worse, what he's calling multiple times a day. And the voicemails that he's leaving.
So hang on just a second. So he says, again, these are the examples, you're dead, you're effing dead. Retards get their heads pounded in.
Mhm.
You can't control your wife. You're going to effing pay for it. And then that's just kind of a sample. Are those, what are those? Are those examples of voicemails?
Yes, sir, they are. And
Okay.
there's,
Continue on. I'm sorry.
okay, that's okay. So with that being said, he's just constantly calling and leaving just horrendous messages. We have not responded at all. And he did say that, he Googled, that's how he got our phone numbers. And I Googled myself at that point and, everything's on there. But anyways, it's just progressively gotten very much just worse to where, he's saying that, you're dead. And the most recent is right before he got served was that pretty much wait until he gets his car fixed. Hey, Al, you're effing dead. Okay, buddy, you're dead, Al. And it just goes on and it just won't stop. So we want the phone calls and the harassment to stop.
He had said that, and I'm gonna hear from him in a minute, and then that you had contact in Las Vegas or some such thing. What was that about?
I've never seen him in Las Vegas.
Okay. And then I'm going to hear in from Mr. Bowen, and then I'll hear from you, Mr. Holscher. Mr. Bowen, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can put your hand down. Let me hear from you. What's your position on all of this?
My position is I've never met the guy. He calls and he speaks like he knows me. And anyways, I just want I'm a superintendent for a construction outfit. So I take all the phone calls because I don't know who could be calling me, school districts, architects, engineers, and things like that. So I would answer the phone, and the minute I would answer the phone, it would be John speaking all of this just kind of odd things to me. So I finally got to the point where I just had to block them because I'm tired of picking up the phone and getting they're the same messages over and over and over. And they're always, here's my phone number, call me. So I guess we can, yell at one another on the phone. Then they've become, threatening and all this stuff. Anyways, and it's puzzling because I've never met the guy. And I know nothing about him. Anyway, and then lately now they've just gotten worse and worse, threatening to beat people up, kill us, you name it. We got all the records of all the phone calls. So anyway, that's what we just want it to end. I've never had to deal with anything like this.
All right, Mr. Holscher,
Yes, Your Honor.
could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your response to you can put your hand down. What's your response to what you've heard?
Well, have you read my response documents?
I have, yes.
Okay, so I don't need to reiterate those.
Well, I do want you to address one thing, because I asked Ms. Bowen about it. She said, in your responsive document, said she stalks me in Las Vegas. She says, I don't know what he's talking about. So why do you think that?
Because I saw her stalking me down in Las Vegas.
I mean, what do you mean? Did you just happen to see someone that was her in a casino or something? Or what?
Yep.
What did she come up and talk? This person come up and talk to you or call you or what exactly?
She was following me in her car, and she came up behind me, and then she drove by me, and I saw it was her for sure.
In Las Vegas?
Yes,
You never had any personal contact with her?
not in Las Vegas, no.
So, what about these phone calls? Or well, actually, let me back. When did that happen? The Vegas thing?
It was when I retired from the Attorney General's office.
So
I
like a
moved
couple
to,
years ago?
probably about 2014.
Okay. So what, and then have you seen her since then?
Just when I've seen her stalking me.
She's following you around?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But have you had any interpersonal talk to her?
I'm not buying this one. I'm just not.
I tried to, it's expressed, I called them on Thanksgiving. I called Al. I talked to him. I was being very polite. And he said, "You're lucky I don't come over there and pound your head in. You're just a little pipsqueak." I was being very respectable, asking him to kindly have his wife please stop stalking me. That was the only time I had a voice conversation with him directly, as opposed as what he's stating. Every time he would pick up the phone, I would be on the phone calling to talk to him. I only spoke
He is officially skeptical.
on one time. So the following voicemails, I was asking him to please have his wife stop stalking me. And that was the purpose of each and every call. And I gave him my phone number. I wanted to speak to him man to man. He would not call me back. So that's why I pursued. I was never asked not to ever call them again. I was trying to have his wife stop stalking me. That was the intention of my calls. So I told him if he's not going to call me back, then I will call his wife and ask her to stop stalking me. So every time I left a voicemail with her, I was asking her to please stop stalking me. That was the legitimate intent of each call. Purpose.
Okay. On a Ms. Bowen, I'll come back to you. Anything you wish to respond to what you just heard?
Yeah, you don't call people that are stalking you. You ignore them. I think everyone knows the handbook.
Yes, there is. It's all, that's just all lies. I haven't talked to him since he was retired. We're tired of being called retard, chicken shit. I have fetal alcohol syndrome. We're pathetic. We're losers. I'm disgusting, grotesque. I'm a retarded fat pig. My husband is a effing punk bitch, fag wimp. And I could go on and on and on. And we do not respond to any of these. Nothing that he has said is true. So if he keeps telling my husband to say, tell your wife to get off me, leave me alone. I haven't seen him or talked to him in over 10 years. So I don't know where this is all coming from. Back when he was harassing me at the office, at the AG's office, we had 2 meetings, and to confront what he was telling my manager I was doing to him. And when during the first meeting, I think it was the HR person said, "Do you have anything to say?" And he goes, "I have nothing to say." So when confronted, he won't say anything. So anyway, when we moved to the Tumwater building, we were placed on separate sides of the office. And there was one point when we were at the other office when all this happened, he was asking.
The fact that he's harassing her at work when they work at the AG's office just shows how brazen he is.
That we not talk to each other unless the supervisor is present. And that very day, when my supervisor left for lunch, he came around the corner and said, "Stacy, can we talk?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And anyways, I thought it was over years ago. I don't appreciate him threatening that my husband, you're dead. I don't like that at all. And where he's saying, if she wants to commit suicide, just tell her to do it. I'm not going to be her scapegoat. She wants someone to kill her. I have all of these on voicemails. I contacted the Tumwater Police numerous times. I do have a case number for that. He did come over last Saturday. He took a lot of the voicemails that Mr. Holscher has left. So I do have a case with the Tumwater Police Department.
All right.
I think that the AG just had him around to profile Stalker. Seriously, it's the only purpose I could see
So, Mr. Holscher,
for him.
and then were you served by,
I mean, here's the thing. I'm completely not believing this guy. I think he's a stalker. From what I've seen, his story doesn't make sense. He's creepy in his attitude. He's saying I'm calling her, which is admission of effectively stalking. No one's buying that she's stalking him. Having said all that, her husband's kind of weird too. Not as bad as him, but this camera angle and like refusing to fix it is weird. I don't get it. I don't know if he thinks that looks tough. It doesn't. But that's off. But that's off like 2%. This guy's off like 100%.
were you served by personal service, Mr. Holscher? Did someone come to your place and deliver you these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course. Oh, that's just because you miss Sarah.
I'm not sure what's going on. You know, we have, you know, when you sit in this position, you know, I have to listen to testimony. I listen to both sides, and sometimes two people are speaking. Both of them are saying things. They both can't be true. So I have to sit around and decide, you know, what's happening, what's not. And that's just based on testimony. And I'm not sure what is happening, but what I'm very confident that is not happening is that Ms. Bowen is not stalking you. And I think somehow that you have it somehow in your belief system that is happening. It is not. It just is not. And so I'm going to sign an order. It's going to exist for 2 years. You're not to have any contact with her at all. And that includes, even though he's not a petition, if you contact Mr. Bowen for the purpose of getting a hold of Ms. Bowen, I think a lot of people would consider that a violation. Do you understand that? So you need to realize she cannot be a part of your life. You just have to let this go and move forward. And again, there's no evidence whatsoever that she is stalking you. That is just not happening.
Behavior in this case is disgusting.
Can I contest that at all with my opinion on your judgment?
Your opinion's well stated in what you filed. But in terms of, again, what the hearing is, I'm making a finding is that that did not happen based on her testimony. I'm also making a finding that the contact that, as described on the record and in the file in terms of the recordings on the voicemail, as well as things you said directly to Mr. Bowen, that is harassing. That's very harassing to these individuals, and it needs to stop now.
I did not say I was going to kill Al Bowen. I was asking him.
Okay, that's fine, but you said some things. You said some things, and again, apparently that's been referred to the police department. That's going to be dealt with there. what I'm signing, any contact, any telephone calls at all, even close to what I mean, it's harassing. People don't want to be called about this sort of thing, particularly when it's unjustified and not true. So
No, you may not.
as you're not to do that. And if you call them or contact them, you will be in violation of this order and you'd be subjecting yourself to additional trouble. I need you to understand that.
Sir, the direct threat was taken out of context. My context was, in most stalking cases, what happens is one person ends up being killed. And I said, do you realize that that may be what happens? One of us may end up being killed. That was my intention of the only threat I gave them.
Okay. Do you understand?
Yeah, you see how that's creepy? You see how the rest of the world would interpret that as, you know, something you shouldn't say? Dare I say it's...
Which is number one, wrong.
And I don't think you understand. Well, first of all, you should understand how disturbing those comments are to everyone, and me, and I'm sure the Boeings. That's incredibly disturbing. Because, and the other thing is, what I want you to understand is the parameters of this order, and what, you know, again, all I can do is enter this order, and there's definitely a showing that this order is appropriate, and I'm going to sign the order, and for the next 2 years, you're not to contact them at all. Do you I need you to understand this.
Per your definition of the RCW, it said without a legitimate purpose. My legitimate purpose was to have the stalking stalking.
Nothing says stalker like I looked up the statute and tried to comply when I was stalking.
Dismissed. That was my legitimate purpose. And the only threat I made was taken out of context that one of us may end up being dead.
Do you understand you are not to contact them? And you know, I've made my ruling. I've done this order. Any ruling I make here is subject to appeal. You're welcome to appeal it if you wish, but this is the finding that I'm making today based on what's been presented today. Do you understand this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. That'll conclude the hearing. And then you can get a copy of this off the Thurston County District Court website, and the Bowens can be done the same. And if you have an email address there, Mr. Holscher, you can, a copy of this will get sent to you.
Okay.
And I really hope you take to heart, probably not as much as the Bowens hope, the parameters of this order. They're not just not a part of your life.
I don't want anything to do with them.
Then we're all on the same page. Great. You're free to leave, and then you're all free to leave the Zoom call.
Thank you, Your
And
Honor.
again, this order is for 2 years.
Thank you.
Oops. He's going to the Hague because it's a violation of the Geneva Convention, apparently. He's got a right to travel and a right to stalk. And $1 billion in an account somewhere. Good Lord. That's what I got. Fun clips. The first guy was out of his mind. I don't know what the deal was. I think he was just trying to be cool. Like, whatever, I just ate another 17 months. I might as well act like, yeah, like I think it's fun. Maintain my bad boy persona. Okay. Whatever, dude. Sit in jail for another 17 months. And this guy, oh my God. He admits all the elements of it. Although I don't know. That woman needs I don't know. She she attracts a certain type. I feel for her. I really do. I really do. All right. There you have it. Thanks, Mindy. Mindy prompted me. I forgot what I say. But Mindy's there to put me back on the path. Thank y'all for coming out. I'll see you soon.